Hello, this is a video tutorial on how to use Jungle Scout's Chrome extension in your product research or competitive analysis. So the video will be broken up into two parts. The first is for product research. So let's say I have created a touch list of everything I've touched over the last few days or a week, and I have several hundred items, and I've decided that I think the most important thing in my life is going to be under the baby category for, um, the pacifier, Binky, etc. So I'm going to put in pacifier, and I'm going to look and say, oh, here's a good ad. Now, a couple of things that help me determine if there's a lot of competition initially are I look and say, how many ads are there? There's a sponsored ad here, a sponsored ad there, sponsored ad here, and looks like the next sponsored ads are probably going to be closer to the bottom of the page. So if we go down to the very bottom, here are some more sponsored ads. So in total, we had about, let's say, 5. So this is probably going to be fairly higher competition, just as a note. And besides Jungle Scout, we'll go into some other tools for Amazon as well. So if I pull up Jungle Scout, now the first thing that you want to do with this competitive, when I'm looking at this, obviously you're going to be looking at reviews. How many reviews am I fighting against? Well, 763 is quite a bit to fight against. Are all of these qualified items? Now, in the pacifier section, let's say, as we're going down, that's not, all of these look like pacifiers. But if, for example, we found something that was not a pacifier, we would want to exclude that. And all you do in Jungle Scout is you press delete. So there's this little X. Sometimes it sticks, so you'll have to press it a couple of times. You can also add it to your product tracker, where if you're looking at specific types of products, you can track them a little bit better. And if we actually go down to the very bottom, we can even extract the next page, and that helps us with really breaking out that average price. But in some categories, like I just described, you really need to be careful, because when you do a product search, there won't be all the products won't show up. So, as an example, right, this is a toy with a Mickey at the end. But if it was just a toy, then we would definitely want to exclude it. These are pacifier clips. So if we were really trying to get a true understanding of the pacifier market, we would exclude those as well. So that's kind of how that works, and you can go down the list, and let's say for the pacifier clips, I would just X that out and delete it. And you can also X out ones that maybe there's not a good estimate on. That'll help you to kind of determine, because if you think about it, let's say these two are ones that they can't get a good estimate on, that's going to affect the price. So it's also going to affect the average review list. So, and as you saw, when I deleted that clip, that also affected average reviews. So to get a true understanding of how high the competition is, you could delete a few of these that aren't really helping with understanding what's going on, and it'll really make a difference in determining. Now, the other thing is that extracting from the next page then reduced the number of average reviews, even though on the first page, I mean, if you're dueling it out for 4,000 reviews against a competitor, this is not a good product for you to try and start with. So if I was looking for a product and doing product research, that would be a huge variable. Is so not just on the first page and the average reviews, but how high are those? You know, as soon as you start getting into the thousands, you're looking at spending a lot of money to penetrate the market. So and for this too, if I look at this, this is not a huge number in revenue for the amount of reviews that you have to fight out for. If this was $200,000 in revenue and you are fighting it out for, you know, against 4,000 reviews, but you can come in and get a few $1,000s, then great. But the amount of money that these people are spending right now is probably pretty high, unless they have a competitive advantage to their product. So orthodontic pacifiers is probably a more specific keyword that if you searched, that might have lower competition, and you might be able to find that that's really the niche, the sub niche within the pacifier market that you want to cater to. And so maybe you're going to offer an orthopedic pacifier kit with 4 different sizes, a clip, and something else to kind of make it unique for the price point. And so the next two or three areas that you definitely want to touch on when you look at this, and the reason that you would want to extract a second page, is you want to look at what are associated keywords, right, in this. And I always like to download these, because what are people paying for, right, to get on this first page, right? And like we just talked about with the orthodontic or orthopedic, that's a keyword that's lower, but it's also has lower reviews competing directly against it, and fewer people are trying to compete for that keyword, right? If we are going through these, I'm not seeing it anywhere else, right? Now, BPA might be another factor, right? Obviously, BPA free means that you can charge $15 instead of these other people who are only charging $4. So I would want a BPA pacifier, or to be able to say that, because it seems like that is specifically, producing a higher cost, and a higher price point of what that value is. Now the next thing is, if you are looking at Google Trends, this will help less so for Amazon and more for your website. But if you're looking long term and you're looking at starting your products on Amazon and then building out a real company, that is definitely important. And then finally, sharing and downloading this table, because if you're doing your research, you want to go back and say, okay, I searched pacifier, and then I went and searched orthodontic pacifier, and when I searched orthodontic pacifier, this is where we saw a drop in the number of average reviews, right? And again, right, like we saw. So there are those few people who are 4,000, but I mean, this is much lower competition, and we haven't even extracted a second page, right? We're down under the average reviews that we were fighting it out for, and is the price point, the average price point, higher? The monthly sales, you factor all of those things in to deciding on this. But, this doesn't even seem to be an orthopedic or BPA free option. So, I would say that's not really competition, and you could exclude that. And now you've just cut it in half. And this is a much more reasonable place to start trying to dominate. So that is basically the extent of initially using this. There's some other places where you can filter results further, and you can look at this differently. You could exclude, if you want to exclude FBA sellers, or you want to exclude different pieces. That's an option by selecting the four dots here. And if for any reason this is having trouble, you might have to hit this refresh button up here to really pull in the data. Occasionally, you'll even have to re-log in, just a FYI, because sometimes I don't know what it is, but the connection is challenging. So, and this also allows you to reset. So if you've extracted the first page and you want to go back and see what the difference is, and get two different Excel spreadsheets, that would be fine as well. But again, if you were going to download it into Excel, you probably want both pages, because you also want to compare first page, second page, what the averages are, and you would want to see how the second page is affecting, and volumes of sales. Now, yeah, so that's everything right now. Please leave comments or questions for the next video, or for more things that you're curious about, and we hope you had a fun time.